Hi guys. Firstly, thanks so much for calling me here. When Priyam called me and said about a month ago, would you like to talk at this event? I said, sure, what do I have to talk about? And she said, well, basically you. I said, hell yes. I love talking about myself. Just that nobody listens most of the time. But now I have like 250 people who are forced to listen to my story. So it's good. My name is Saahas Patil, and I'm here to share my story. I'm going to start with my past, what I did before this. I've grown up in Bangalore, 24 years. Been studying in Bangalore. I studied in 3 schools. Sophia High School, which I don't like mentioning to people, in 4th standard. Joseph's from 5th to 10th. I'm still a Josephite at heart. And Cotton's from 11 to 12, which is very good and very bad at the same time. And then that was 18 years of my life, that 18 years of just studying, and it was the best time of my life. I mean, so much passion and not a single worry in the world. And then engineering happened. I did 2008. I joined MS Ramaya Institute of Technology. I did my mechanical engineering there. It's 200 guys and 4 girls. That's what it is. 200 guys, and I'm not even kidding. It's 200 guys and 4 girls. So I'm not really going to get into much of what my schooling was about, what my education was about, because honestly, engineering did nothing for me. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I was totally focused on something else. But all through my life, I've always had 2 very strong undercurrents that sort of shaped my life to what it is today. And I'm going to be telling you about those 2 things. I think I'll start with the first one. It's the social work. So when I was in my final year of engineering, or probably the 3rd year of engineering, I felt I was wasting my time because I wasn't really doing anything. Like, I would just study just 2 hours before the exams, write them, and somehow I did well, but it wasn't really productive in any way. And all my life, I've really loved children. I've really loved spending time with children. I really like kids. I really like babies. It's just a thing that I've had from when I was a child. And so I decided I want to spend some time with kids. And purely out of coincidence, I found this post on Facebook saying, if you can, there's this opportunity for people to do social work at different centers in the city that cater to underprivileged kids. And it was by this NGO called UNI. And I clicked on it, and it said, you can spend your Sundays, just 2.5 hours on Sunday, spending time with 85 underprivileged, mentally challenged boys. And I said, okay, cool, I'm not doing anything on Sundays. Let me just go and spend time with them. And these were some of the boys I met. So I'm just going to explain to you what this is. There's a mentally challenged boys' home in Dairy Circle. This is a temporary shelter run by the government. So basically, when families abandon their mentally challenged children, the cops pick them off the streets and they come and bring them here. So this mentally challenged home is probably half the size of this hall, and there are 85 mentally challenged boys there, and they stay there till their physical age of 21. After that, they move to the men's home, and they die there. So their whole life, they spend in half this hall, with nothing much to do really, because their mental ages are from 0 to 12, and they're not toilet trained. We have to take care of them. I mean, the stuff that I saw when I first stepped into the mentally challenged boys' home, there were kids, in their own crap, some of them eating their own crap. There were flies all over their wounds. It was a terrible sight. And so I decided I'm going to stick to this. And I spent 1 year every Sunday spending time with these kids. The 2 kids you see are Anju and Bala. They were some of the kids that I spent time with when I was volunteering. And towards the end of my engineering, when placements start happening. How many of you are in that placement phase right now? Yeah, I hated it because I didn't want to do any of these jobs that were, all these companies that kept coming and saying, oh, you have this opportunity. I didn't want to do any of those. And on Facebook, I saw the co-founder of UNI put up this status saying, we're looking for people to work with UNI full-time. I said, let me try that. So I sent them my resume, and I got accepted. And I can tell you without a doubt that that was the most life-changing decision I've ever made, to work full-time with UNI. I met the most amazing people in the world. Like, as a fact, these people, even the one in the white shirt there, they're the most amazing people in the world, like, hands down. And we are a small team, we have big dreams. We started off, when I joined, there were just 5 people on the staff, and we had just about 60 volunteers. We were doing 3 things. We were doing education, we were doing rehabilitation, and we were doing awareness. And we had no idea what we were doing when we first started. It was all just plans that we had in our head, but there was no system, there was no structure. For the last 2.5 years, we worked really hard. Really hard. And today, we are definitely, without a doubt, changing lives. Not just of the 500 underprivileged children that we teach every week, that we care for every week, but also the lives of the 600 volunteers that are volunteering with us every week. So that's like 1,000 people and 14 centers whose lives are being changed, and I think that's a huge opportunity and we want people like you guys to come and volunteer. It's just 2.5 weeks, just for 9 months. That's it, and that's what it was. And today, this year, UNI is going to 10 different cities, and we're going to be reaching probably 2,000 underprivileged kids and changing their lives. So it's a great place to be at right now, because UNI is really growing. And I think the one thing that stuck with me throughout all of this is I always followed what I liked doing. I knew I always liked spending time with kids, and this is what got me here. And it's taught me so much more than just being a philanthropist. It's taught me leadership, it's taught me management, it's taught me so many things. And so that's the one part of my life, that was the social work. The second is the music. So I think my first memory of music was sitting in kindergarten or nursery and singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And that was the first memory, and after that I realized that I had this sharp ear to kind of sing whatever was played to me. I could catch these tunes very easily. And I didn't know I could sing up until 5th standard. In the 5th standard, my music teacher said, I'm going to audition the whole class for a singing competition that happens. And so it was like a mini American Idol thing happening in 5th standard. So there was like eliminations and stuff happening. And and finally, surprisingly, I got to represent my class at the singing competition. So that sort of made me realize that I could sing. And ever since 5th standard to 10th standard, I had only been singing in choirs, thanks to my music teacher. But when 10th standard happened, something really interesting happened. I was one of these really nerdy students, always the focused one. Sitting in the front bench and raising their hands for every answer, telling the teacher to give us homework and shit like that. But what happened in 10th standard was, I was introduced to a lot of different music, and I was introduced to girls. Both of them sort of changed my life in a very weird way. So I had all these expectations, because keep in mind, I was the focused one. I was, the one that scores a lot of marks in the exams and stuff. And board exams happened, and I was like, 95, definitely. And the results came out, and I got like an 80. And I spent like one day crying, mostly in front of my mother, because I wanted to show her that I was crying. So after that happened, it was a weird transition in my life. And when that transition was happening, 2 very important figures came into my life. One, I was introduced to the writing of this man. His name is Khalil Gibran. And second, I was introduced to the music of this band. Dream Theater, yes, Dream Theater. And the 2 of them changed my life. After that, it was no turning back. Like, I did not want to study at all. No studying. So 11th and 12th happened. I was at Cotton's. And this is what I did. Every day I would come to class, I would take off my bag, keep it on my desk, go to the music room, sit there all day, come back at the end of school, take my bag and go home. I did that for 5 months. And there was this point where the teachers found out I was doing this. After 5 months, man, come on, it's pretty damn stupid. After 5 months, and I absolutely positively had to go back and sit in class. And man, it killed me. It killed me. So I developed this routine of getting a gate pass. In Cottons, you have something called a gate pass. They don't let you get out of school unless you have a gate pass. That's how much they want to keep their students inside the school. So I would walk out in the first class. That was at 9:30. I would say, "Ma'am, my stomach is hurting, ma'am. I really need to go to the toilet." And she's like, "Okay, go." And I would sit in the toilet for like half an hour, wait for the next class to start. I would walk into the next class like 20 minutes late and say, "Ma'am, I'm feeling really sick, ma'am. I think I need to get a gate pass." She's like, "Oh, okay." And then she would go get me a gate pass. And then I would get that gate pass, walk out of school, and just spend my days walking around the streets with my headphones on. That's all I did. Just listening to music. But I think that time was the best time of my life. I really didn't care about what was happening. It was just completely in the zone. I just loved music. I loved lyrics. I loved the way people made music, the experience of music. And it still stuck with me and it still is with me till today. And that's what's guided me since the time I heard Dream Theater, since the time I read Khalil Gibran. And after that, I started doing a lot of different stuff. I started playing, making my own music. I started playing at a lot of competitions. I started playing with a lot of bands. I always had this burning desire to create that experience that I felt when I was listening to music. Because I don't know what it was, it just drove me. I just wanted to create songs that could affect people the way music affected me. So I did a lot of that. And I remember there was this one point where I was in this amateur band, that one. It was called Chutney Mary Assassins. And I remember I'd written a couple of songs, and we were getting shows to play regularly. I mean, not very regularly, we got a few shows. And I really wanted to put these new songs and play these new songs at those shows. But the problem was, everyone else in the band didn't see that same vision that I saw with these songs. All I wanted to do was get these songs and play them on stage. That's all I wanted to do. But, so I would keep calling them for practices, let's do this song, let's do this song. And it kept happening, no one turned up. And at that point where we were just before the show, we hadn't even had one single practice. And we had to play new songs. And I'm thinking, man, this really sucks. Like, I can't do this. I mean, I really need to get these songs. I don't know how it's going to happen. And I was on the verge of tears because this was my life. This is what I want my life to be. And no one was supporting me. And I realized this one very important lesson at that point. No one is going to come and help you figure out your dreams. You are responsible for your own dreams. If you have any dreams, don't wait for someone to come and give you a helping hand or a silver spoon. No one's going to do that. If you have to make a change, if you have to learn something, go learn it and do it yourself. So at that point where no one turned up, I was completely broken, but I didn't give up. So I joined I did this vocal course at Nathaniel School of Music. And just after the course was done, and that's something about life. Whenever you guys are at that moment where you think there isn't any hope and you're completely broken and you have nothing left inside you, things just suddenly start happening. I don't know what it is, but I've been through those moments quite a few times. But immediately after those moments happen, doors just start opening. And so I did that course, and I got a call from a person and said, "Why don't you sing for this band?" And that's what happened. So I was 2011 or 2010, where I joined Allegro Fudge. And so this is the lineup right now. It was different earlier, but I was 19, late 19 or 20, and I was thrown into this professional band where there were like 26-year-olds, 27-year-olds who had been there, done that, who were big names in the Bangalore music scene or the Indian music scene, and I had no idea what I was doing. But when you really like something, when you really like to do something, you'll figure it out. There's no doubt about that. You will figure it out. only when you're doing something that really, I mean, you just don't want to do it, that's when things start, going wrong. But always trust your instinct and always go with your instinct because they somehow know already where you want to be. So Allegro Fudge happened and we started making music, which was my dream. It was my dream to put music out. It was my dream to compose music, write music, record it, and play it. And it was 2.5 years or 3 years of like an incredible ride. So we were on the covers of magazines, on the radio, on TV, and all these different things. And this is what happened. Like a lot of different things started happening, and we released an album, and that was pretty popular. So all these different things happened only because I stuck to what I really liked doing. And now I'm at the point where Allegro Fudge is still happening. We're working on our second album right now, but I'm also working on my solo stuff right now. Yeah, solo project. I'm releasing my own music, and so those are the two things that I've always done: the social work and the music. And this is where it's at right now. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to come and share my story with you guys. And hopefully some of you are inspired. But this is where it sort of starts to get to sound like a graduation speech, like a Steve Jobs speech. So it gets a little preachy now. So bear with me. I want to share with you 5 things that I've learned over the course of whatever I've done in my whole story. The first thing being vision. What do you see? With all your lives, you guys have dreams. I hope you do. What do you see? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Can you see that clearly enough? Because if you don't see yourself clearly enough, there's no way you're going to get there. You need to define it as clear as possible. I always knew, and that's the funny thing about seeing things. You can only really see things in the future when you're doing what you really like. When you're doing something you don't like, it's an obligation. It's not something that you want to do. It's not something that you get to do. It's something that you have to do. Only when you actually like doing it, you'll actually see what you want to be in the future. So always see whatever you want to be. Like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, always define it. And second thing is belief. Always, I think belief is the most important thing. Whenever people ask me, and it's crazy, I hate going to these parties and receptions and weddings that my parents drag me to. Because 50-year-old aunties are like scavengers. They're looking for suitable matches for their daughters or their nieces or some friends. So they're all walking around and asking everyone what they do and stuff like that. So they come to me and they say, and they're very polite and they're smiling and stuff. And they say, so what do you do? And I say, I'm a musician and social worker. And the look just changes, it's a complete worry. And they just walk away after that. I'm off the list, I'm just ticked off the list. Musician and social workers don't have a good future. So always believe, but even despite all of those things, always believe that you will get there. And that somehow only happens when you know what you're doing and when you like what you're doing. And the third thing is discipline. I think there's no substitute for hard work and discipline. You can dream all you want, you can believe in it all you want, but what really changes things is hard work. Everyone can dream. I can ask any one of you here to dream, and you will dream, but what are you going to do about it? Because dreams don't work unless you do. So keep working every single day, be disciplined. That's what it takes to get to where you want to be. And the fourth thing is persistence. Don't ever stop doing it, no matter what happens. Even when you have no reason to believe that this is going to get somewhere, just keep doing it, and I promise you doors will open. And the last thing is something I just learned very recently. It's being positive. Be positive about what you're doing. Don't let the negativity affect you. The world will get to you a lot of times. And I will pull you down if you let it. But keep being positive about your dreams, and you'll reach a lot of places you never thought you'd be. A lot of places. So that's what I want to tell you guys, is the 5 things that you can take away from this. But I also want to play you a song. Do you guys want to hear a song? Yeah. All right, cool. I was going to play it even if you said no. Check. So, can you hear me? Yes. So, this is what I said was I'm releasing stuff from my solo album, EP. This is the first time I'm playing a song from it. The song's called So Caught Up. Thanks, I can hear it now. And incidentally, actually the song was written about, you know that feeling where you get when you're trying to talk to someone and they keep building these walls, and you know they're listening, but you just can't get through to them. That's what the song is about. It's called So Caught Up. And incidentally, it was written for a girl who sat here like 2 years ago. So yeah, and she wants me to say hi to you, so hi. Yeah. The song's called So Caught Up.
I've tried every way to figure out what you're thinking, but I can't see past the walls that you keep building. All I have left with me are thoughts of you. And believe me, I'd love to turn and walk away, oblivious to all the things I try to say, but something inside me just won't let you go. If you could only know how much you're on my mind, and see me lay beside the ghost you leave behind. I'm so caught up in you, all of the things that you say to me, and all of the things that you don't. I'm so caught up in you, and all of the lights that I see tonight, they won't shine as brightly as you. And all of these nights, they seem so out of place. They always end in picturing your pretty face, wondering if I'll ever see this through. And I know it's hard for you to try and understand the ways of your heart and all its plans, but darling, won't you learn to trust in you? If you could only know how much you're on my mind, and see me lay beside the ghost you leave behind. I'm so caught up in you, and all of the things that you say to me, and all of the things that you don't. I'm so caught up in you, and all of the lights that I see tonight, they won't shine as brightly as you. So caught up in you, and all of the lights that I see tonight, they won't shine as brightly as.
So thanks a lot for having me, and thanks a lot for listening. If I have to say anything about what I just said, just be honest with yourself, and things will go all right. Thanks a lot for listening.
Wow. So, yeah, we're going to break for lunch now. You guys, it's a short lunch break, so you guys should be back here by 1:30 if you want to catch the